Damn, are we back? Yes, we are. Of course we're back. Otherwise, I wouldn't say that we're back, which I didn't say.
Unless you were a liar.
Ah,
And your pants was on fire.
I've been had. Anyways, aside from all this jibber jabber, we are back for the third game of today. Third of four. After this, one more game versus, the last team that I seem to have forgotten.
Tribute.
Tribute, there it is. Um, right now, we are getting ready in the lobby for the game between KVM Esports Academy, of course, and PXP, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, are both on a 0-2 scoreboard at the moment. So that would mean that it's a very, very important game for both teams, for all 10 players here. Should go KVM's way, but you never know.
We'll have to see how it goes. Anyway, KVM Mechelen, they must win this. If they lose this, then it's basically guaranteed that they will not make it out of groups. And then the last game they play today against Tribute will be more of a formality. Well, we are going into the draft here. There are a few picks that I'm interested if we will see from PXB. For example, Kelly for Dennis, he plays a lot of strong laners. The Darius, the Kled, the Aatrox. I kind of want to see a Darius game because I see them destroy everyone in my ranked games. I see Roba destroy people in Belgian League. But besides that, I don't see them in any pro games anywhere or in Open Tour for that matter. So will Dennis be able to pull out the Darius here? We'll see.
Possibly gonna be left open. Zoe, once again, Henk Henkerson, not allowed to play it. It gets taken away from him every time. It's kind of like it's turning into Mortar's Jax. But now the legend is Hank's Zoe. We never see Hank Zoe because it gets banned away. Of course, Jax isn't being banned away that often, if ever, really. As Mortar just has other champions that are probably just better more often than not. As, well, Darius, there goes the dream.
There goes the dream. Once more, Xerath being picked away as well. And of course, Hank, he still has options. He has the Orianna, Azir. I'm not sure if if PXP is gonna invest 5 bans into him. He'll always have an option to play. Of course,
They should ban Kaiser. Or they're
his
just
favorite. He's a little bit, yeah. They could ban Kaiser or they could pick it themselves.
Yeah, I mean PXP should ban Kaiser.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. Or a pick for Oli, of course. Hecarim still open. I have a feeling that the teams don't really mind him playing it, even though he's very successful, because they don't ever seem to really ban it to him.
Yeah, up till now it hasn't really been banned that often, if ever.
Except for a best of 3 where they get clapped in the first game because of it. Then they ban it in the second game. That we have seen. But in these group phases, they don't really go for it.
Okay, interesting. So they decide to take away Thresh from Bisco, which we haven't really seen him play at all. It's not really one of his go-to champions either. As you know, he has Leona, Rel, Nautilus, those types of things. We've seen him play Seraphine as well, I believe. So this could go basically everywhere. I don't think Mindrago is gonna pick up the Seraphine in the bottom lane here. He could, but I'm assuming he's gonna go towards either Hank or Bisco, as Akali actually gets locked in, which is probably going to go towards Lookalike.
And Lookalike, he is
Never mind.
a big
It's
fan
Nidalee.
of these. Oh, it's a placeholder.
It's Nidalee. Yep.
Could have been. Luca, of course, playing the Akali as well, is a big assassin player. So I'm expecting a bruiser or assassin in the mid lane, and definitely not something like a caster in this case. Nearly being picked up for Henny. He loves it. He plays the meta so well, plays all these scary champions, so he has an ocean. But they go for the Nidalee. Also picking it away from Oli, because we've seen it being banned against him as well a few times. So he has still options. He has Graves, he has Talia, he has the Hecarim. So we'll probably see the Hecarim, because that is what he always drafts, and there it is being hovered, and there it's being locked in. So Ollie, you get your pony again, and this time you can play him for a whole game, because of course last game he played Talia, the game before he was disconnected. So now please show us how you gallop over that early game.
All right, and they actually go for Senna. Mindrago gonna pick up Senna here for himself. Possibly Bisco, probably not gonna be support Senna, however. And I really like the Pantheon pickup here. It's gonna make Nidalee Spears a lot easier, and the ganks for Nidalee a lot easier to actually go for. As Misfortune is gonna be hovered here along the side of PXP. They're gonna pick up that one. Really safe laner. Misfortune these days, you know, starts off with Tier Comet and just pokes people with the Make It Rain. Pretty safe in that aspect, pretty long range. Of course, all she basically does in the team fights is go Make It Rain bullet time, and yeah, if it hits enough people, they die.
I feel like KVM Mechelen needs to ban the Leona at this point, because you see the trash bang coming in, you see the Misfortune being picked. This is screaming Leona support from all angles for this PXP lineup right now, and there it is, the Leona ban coming to a good read from KVM Mechelen that they catch onto it. Of course, Rel also still open, and it is, as we said, Leona 2.0. Has a lot of the same tools, can do the same that Leona does. So maybe they ban that as well, making sure that this is not a pick that Legends of Leagues can pull out. Because, of course, Misfortune, so much damage if there is setup for her bullet time.
They do eventually on the side of PXP decide to go for the Nautilus ban, which is one of Bisco's better, if not best, support. Because at this point they still don't know whether Seraphine's going to go into the bottom lane or into the mid lane. And if she would go into the bottom lane, you have the Senna Seraphine, which is a lot of survivability. There's a lot of heals there. There's a lot of poke there. So that's, of course, a very possible lane. However, if they do decide to go for something like a Rel or even an Alistair in the bottom lane, and there's a lot of lockdown and a lot of burst onto, for example, the Seraphine, if they find that they engage onto her, she basically goes down. And now Viego being hovered, I don't know if anyone plays it.
It is a placeholder, because Viego not allowed in the open tour here.
Still not allowed, yeah. Okay.
Of course, because of some little bugs that he still has on the Rift, where you can, for example, place infinite Azir towers. It's just slight bug, slight missed thing from from Riot. And the Amumu probably gonna be a placeholder as well.
Yes, sir. It's Azir once again for Hank.
Viego, infinite Azir towers. Azir. It all comes together.
It all comes together. So the Azir is going to be picked up here for the likes of Hank once again, which is interesting as it does not get banned away. I don't really know why PXP decided to ban Xerath. Yes, Hank has a high mastery on Xerath, but he hasn't played him recently at all, I think. Xerath not really in the best position either. You know, he's fine, but he's not the best. So he gets banned away, leaving him with the Azir, which is something that he has been playing lately quite a lot. You know, in both solo queue and in open tour, and it's one of his higher mastery champions as well. So that would have been in my opinion, more logical ban. But they do eventually decide to take away the Xerath, leaving of course the Azir open.
And the last pick coming in, the Silas, being locked in. And I'm not really a huge fan of the pick against the team from KVM, because there are some interesting ultimates that can be stolen, like the Seraphine ult, which is of course just ridiculous the range that you have on that. But besides that, there aren't really those game-changing plays that you can make, because you already have the Ornn in your own squad. It's not like you're gonna be able to steal your own teammates' ults. So I wonder how he is going to use this champion. Does he have great success with it against the likes of an Azir? Is he able to really bully him out of lane? Or how is he going to utilize this champion on the Rift? Because we know him being a counter to many, but Azir, not really what I've seen from Silas so far.
yeah, not the sickest pickup here. Silas was hovered as well by KVM Academy, because of course they saw the Ornn on the other side, which of course if you pick Silas into the Ornn is a pretty decent matchup for him, stealing away the Ornn Horn every time, you know, to use it for your own engage. But eventually they do decide to go for the Renekton into the Ornn. I'm not sure it's the best pick, because Ornn can basically not get stunned, which takes away, you know, a lot of what Renekton does. You know, eventually it's probably not necessarily to shut down the Ornn, but just to shut down, well, basically ganks. I guess he can 2v1 the ganks if he really comes up top.
I suppose he could, of course. Renekton doing fairly well against tanks when he goes the Blade of the Ruined King early.
That's true.
It isn't being built that often these days, just because there are so many tanky bruiser items which give Renekton the opportunity to become the front line as well. And I feel like with Seraphine on Bisco, which is not something that they usually play, usually he has the role as a tank on him. Now Oli will need some help, because if he is the only one diving into the backline being the tank, he is not going to survive that long. Normally, of course, if he gets a huge lead and he's super fat, he might. But I feel like Mortar will take that role upon him as well.
And then, of course, something we haven't touched on at all is that we were expecting a support to be picked up, but it was Ornn and Silas, meaning the Pantheon is moving into the support role. Whether or not that was their plan initially with the Pantheon pick doesn't really matter. It's gonna be pretty strong once again. You know, it's a good setup for Nidalee Spears. It's a good setup for, of course, the MF Make It Rain into the bullet time as well. So there's possibilities there. And of course, on top of that, Pantheon has a lot of burst with press the attack or Conqueror, whatever he chooses to go here. And if he does find Seraphine or Senna, yeah, it's going to be a lot of burst onto those. So Mindrago and Bisco gonna have to be careful and need to use their range precisely and perfectly to not get basically burst down over and over in the bottom lane.
Both teams did a really good job in using those flex picks to their advantage in the draft. Seraphine being picked early, not really knowing where she would go, and as well as the Pantheon now being used against the Seraphine. Great pickup, because both Senna and Seraphine very squishy, very weak early. And that's where Pantheon shines. He can just flash, stun you, Miss Fortune. That does fairly a lot of damage in the early game as well, because of course she has the love tap and the double up. If she can do it correctly, you're going down very fast. And maybe he will go for the Make It Rain into the Comet, but I don't think that is the way to go, because you have two heals on the side of KV Mechelen. You really need to have that consistent damage, because with the poke, you're not really going to get there. They're just gonna heal it up every time.
Yeah, they need to go for all-ins. I mean, I like the Seraphine Senna lane here with, you know, against the MF, because the poke from MF is so easy to land and obnoxious. Healing that up with Senna and Seraphine is gonna be, you know, pretty annoying for Shadow's Misfortune here. Of course, the Pantheon gonna kind of counteract that with a lot of burst, and you know, healing up that entire burst is gonna either take too much time or too much mana, which is gonna be rather annoying for them. And of course, as always, KVM drafting a team fight composition with the Hecarim engage, follow up by the Seraphine ultimate. And then there's a lot of lockdown potential there. Onto the squishy targets, Nidalee and Misfortune. If they can shut down the Misfortune early on in the fight, you take away bullet time, it's gonna be really big.
There are definitely some options to take her down, because Misfortune not the most mobile champion. You really need to watch her positioning, and as you said, Seraphine, that ultimate, I still have no idea why it is that it goes so far. It's basically Sona 2.0, and Sona, her ult is just a baby version of this. Like, she hits you from across the map, So every time Miss Fortune does her ultimate, she has to stand still. She can get hit instantly by this the Seraphine ult and die very fast, because of course everyone can reach her basically. You have the Hecarim who goes so far with also Shadows. Azir can shuffle. There are a lot of threats, and I kind of like KVM Mechelen comp for that reason. Don't like the Silas pick in this instant, but it's up to Luca to prove me wrong in that. So if you would ask me which draft here is the winner, I would probably go for KV Mechelen's draft, depending on how this bot lane goes, because there is definitely some potential from PXP to absolutely demolish KV Mechelen's bot lane here.
They have the potential to go all in quite often, quite a lot of times, as we are gonna load onto the Rift right here, ladies and gentlemen. Why do I do that? I don't know. Anyways, we're on the Rift, ladies and
Why
gentlemen.
do you
Welcome.
do so many things?
Let's not dive into that for now. You know, those are things we can look into later on. But now we're on the Rift. We are into the third out of 4 games for today. KVM versus PXP. Both are on 0-2. Both really need this win right here. And it looks like PXP wants to go for a little bit of a dive. If they flash stun onto Senna, it's going to be enough. The stun from Silas is going to go wide. The spear is not going to connect either. And now, the 3-man bind as Legend of Leagues is just going to continue his journey into the enemy jungle. Another stun this time around. Bisco, the flash gets burned here as well. A couple more auto. Look how far they're gonna go. He jukes the last spear. One more auto attack is gonna be enough. Oh no! Nidalee is eventually the one who goes down.
And this is so sad for PXP here. They started so well, they're blowing the flashes, putting pressure on, knowing that those lanes are easy to pick up afterwards, but Hennessy just goes for, I can't really say anything else than a small int in this early invade, taking 2 third shots level 1, giving none other than my Drago a kill, the first blood, just easy in the pocket, and they don't get anything in return except for 2 flashes. Everything will depend now on how Hennessy is gonna impact the bot lane, because they don't have flashes, they are weak early, they are not mobile. If no one is going to pressure the bot lane after these plays, then that was just the worst start you could possibly have in this game.
Yeah, that was an that was a pretty big chase from PXP, going a little bit.
Pretty big oof.
Pretty big oof. That was a big oof. That was a huge oof by PXP there. No, it was a very deep chase there by PXP, especially Hennessy. Going really hard, needed one more auto attack, and even the last auto attack, not 100% sure if he would have even gotten the kill on Bisco's Seraphine. So it would have been close either way, as Mortar wins the first couple trades here in the top lane. Goes relatively low himself afterwards, though. It looks like Renekton does pretty fine in those early levels against Chally for Dennis's Org. By the way, Hennessy, it's a funny name because it's just whiskey, but just spelled differently.
Well, there are a lot of names that have potential in League of Legends with spelling, but we're not gonna go too deep into this. While Mortar, he keeps diving, but gets the proc on him, which gives this a good trade for Dennis here on the top lane. Clappers and Mortar needs to look out. Yeah, the flash definitely needed. If that procs, it's a kill for Ornn. And that's the problem. Ornn, he can just pretty much spam all his abilities, and with Renekton you need to be close to benefit the region that you have from your Meek, from the potential lifesteal Omnivem that you're picking up. Then it's just one good trade and puts the lane in his favor now. So forcing Mortar's TP already at this stage of the game, and him being able to buy his items in the lane. It's just value overall, while bot lane is doing some damage.
Yeah, and that's the damage we spoke of. If Pantheon finds the stun, there's a lot of damage, a lot of follow-up there as well. But something we haven't said yet, but it's very, very true, is that if Pantheon jumps in, Senna can fairly freely hit the W, binding the Pantheon. Yes, he's going to deny some damage with his E, but he's going to be stunned for quite a while on top, you know, of the Seraphine, who can then just bind him again. So he's gonna be standing still for quite a while, and now Mortar. Oh, he this time around almost gets the shield off. He's waiting for the Bellows Breath, as opposed to last time.
Oh, there is Ollie.
There's the dive. There's the Ollie we know. He's gonna wait for the E to come around. CC is not gonna come through. Kill goes down.
Hennessy is there. They are gonna punish this flashless bot lane. Can they get the kill picked
Yes,
up by
sir.
Luca?
That's a good play here by PXP as well. Orn gets dived
They dive.
in the top lane, gets taken down. But a return play here by PXP for people in the bottom lane. They know that Bisco's flash was still down, and taking advantage of that, of course, with Pantheon, which he spoke so much about. Easy click on stuns. Boom. Done.
Yeah, and this is what they need to do, of course, with the loss that they had in the invade earlier. They need to punish this bot lane because you can see the damage that they have with the slows. And it is a topic that I wanted to touch on earlier. Every time that the bot lane from PXP goes in, there is a risk because you need to burst. I'm holding it down because Hennessy coming in for round 2.
And the flash gets burned really early on. Guardian gonna come through. Ignite is burning onto Seraphine. It's not gonna be enough for the kill. Now look at my Drago gonna continue the chase here. Teleport gonna come in here from Henk Henkerson's Azir. And Seraphine is gonna go low with the flash auto attack. Should find the kill. Shadow, look how low he is. He's just gonna run away. The chase is on. Finds to make it rain as well for the slow. There's probably no way he's ever gonna get out of this. So the chase is on, but they're gonna make them lose quite a bit as Misfortune takes one more auto attack and goes down eventually. But Seraphine really greedy there, giving away a kill.
Yeah, Bisco, we know that he has balls, but usually it is a calculated risk that he takes. Now it is a bit too calculated, goes down. Yeah, not really necessary to Shadow. Able to pick up a kill. Meanwhile, Luca is moving towards the topside. Mortar running for his life, doesn't want to have anything to do with this. And you can see that he is ahead of farm, has a kill as well against Orn, of course, with the help of Ollie in the dive. But he's still struggling to really put the pressure on. Meanwhile, Pantheon putting so much damage on Henk.
Oh, but now the Hecarim ult had been thrown by Luca. He's gonna go in for the dive. Is Henk gonna be able to juke the last amount of damage? No, he's not. As Ollie secures the return kill onto Silas. Luke finding his second kill of the game, which is gonna be pretty good for him to find that. As now my Drago, 1v1, not gonna want to continue that little chase. Seraphine running back into the lane. By the way, you said it was Bisco calculates his risks, but this was too calculated. Do you not mean not enough calculation? How do you calculate too much and then get it wrong?
Sometimes you calculate so much that you don't understand it anymore.
Ah, yes, that's the one. Okay,
that's the one. He over-calculated it.
All right. Yes, his brain could not calculate his calculations.
He couldn't process all the information anymore, and he just went for it.
He just went for it and said, "You know what? We'll see what we get out of this." As there's a lot of poke here. Huh?
Do you know the meme from Incredibles 2 where Bob is sitting at the table doing the homework for his son, and then he just gets angry? Matt is Matt. Why do they change Matt?
Ah, yes, that's exactly what happened here in the bottom lane. As I find a great shuffle here on to Nidalee. Eventually, it goes down to Senna, who, by the way, right now is 3-0-0.
All in top lane.
A lot of gold in the pocket. Mortar in the top lane. Orn is going to run away. He should be calling for his Azir to run down here. Oh, what? Wait, he auto-attack queued and didn't.
That was a miscalculation from Mortar right there. He thought he had him, but it was not.
He doesn't calculate enough either. Eventually, with the dash, it's going to be enough. And Luca. Okay. Once again, Ollie with the perfect onslaught of shadows into the dash into the enemy, of course, who then gets knocked back into his team. I don't know what Luca wanted to do there with his flash. He just flashed backwards and used his ult.
We talked about it earlier that Ollie he does it so well every time with the Hecarim, chaining his ult with his E to get that little dash into his own team. And this shows it again. This guy really knows his pony. He's just able to put those ganks in every time. And I'm gonna try to bring it up again, but every time I try, they start a fight. So I see Hennessy coming in. Every time this bot lane goes in, they have a risk of giving the Senna the stacks on Pantheon without getting a kill in return. So these trades are very beneficial for this bot lane from KVM Mechelen, as long as it is not an all-in. They get so much out of this here as well. Another stack from Mandrago for free. They really can't risk jumping in and not getting the kill, or this is so much value for the Senna. However, 4 people hovering this bot lane right now. Teleport for Mortar is still a little bit to go, and Hank getting caught in his own jungle can't really follow this Silas up. Too dangerous for him.
But he dashes out smoothly, getting away from the rest of the damage, as Oli once again on his Hecarim, showing the early pressure that he can put out. He's going for not only the first Drake of the game, which he has taken, but also the first Herald of the game, and top lane once again fighting 1v1 Mortar versus Challenge for Dennis. And Mortar should be winning this trade, needs a couple more auto attacks to take, Dennis down. And yeah, this might be another dive here as Oli finds the Ornn. One more auto attack with the Red Smite is going to be enough. And maybe Hennessy going to be able to do something here. Needs a couple more auto attacks, a spear or two, Mortar catching one. Red buff has been taken away. Whoa, wow, great pounce into the takedown from Hennessy, and now it's the 1v1 versus Renekton. It's going to be scary for him to actually continue this fight. Finds another spear, should find another takedown. Oh, the dash on Mortar, is it going to be enough? Not quite exactly, but Goss is there with, almost able to help his top laner survive. Now Hank Henkerson a little bit too late, as he gets taken down as well. It's going to be a triple kill for Silas. PXP showing what they're worth in the top side here.
See. This guy is still alive. That was so well played by him. So clean, really knowing the limits of his champion. And of course, the rest of his squad coming in clutch for the pickups. And that is a huge win for PXP there. Because they were falling behind slightly, but that play really takes them back in the game here. Hennessy is still able to put pressure, knowing that he has some strength now. However, you cannot underestimate or BM this pony. He will just slap you across the face, but now Oli needs to run for his life. Can he survive?
The Silas ultimate is down. The Ornn Horde comes through. However, Oli gets taken down after finding a kill for himself. Now a lot of damage coming through onto Seraphine. Teleport is going to come through. Mandrago ignoring the Pantheon. Look how low Shadow is once again. Gets taken down eventually by Mandrago's range. And also the Pantheon Flash is burned. So a 2 for 2 all in all across the map here. And yeah, this top lane is going more and more in Mortar's favor. Level 10, sorry, against level 8. So yeah, he's quite far ahead here.
Yeah, he's really able to take over this lane from the point that Oli did the dive on Dennis there. And soon he will be able to finish his core drinker. Will make him extremely tanky, able to soak so much damage to heal back up. And Dennis is already struggling. He of course has the value automatically on the Ornn with the engage, with the ornaments later on in the game. So we shouldn't be too worried about this. So of course, if Mortar is able to take the turrets, is able to split, then he will get a lot of value for his team. As well as really luring Hennessy there, which is trying to cover Dennis a little bit.
Doing his best to cover for Dennis. And Hennessy actually played the topside gank earlier really well, finding the Flash Pounce takedown, finding another spear, eventually helping his Silas to 3 kills, who's now 6-2 and 0. Went for the Everfrost as well, which is gonna make sure that he's gonna be able to lock down his target fairly long. You know, if he hits his E, the chains into the Everfrost are gonna be standing still for really long. Great Bellows Breath there by Dennis, and dashes away from that one to make sure he survives.
I love how Dennis was playing it, because earlier I feel like Mortar could have killed him when he was further in the lane, but he just bluffed Hennessy being there in the wings. Oh wow, that slide hit not enough to pick up Dennis. He is just slightly too tanky, and now he's Ornn horning in the way, because of course if it hits, he really forces that ultimate from Mordar there. And he needs to leave his turret because this Croc he will and can die.
It is going to be an ult for ult exchange in the top lane. Uses his Q for another slow. Gets out of that one. He's 25 farm behind though. You know, which is really pretty much. I'm very, what do you want to say? I'm very happy that Luke is playing as well as he is, and just as I'm saying that, he takes away the Onslaught of Shadow, might be taken down here. It only needs 1 or 2 more auto attacks. He's going to continue with the devastating charge. Senna ult not going to be enough. Silence going to be really low, however. But yeah, he's playing really well against Hank Ankerson, who before on the Azir always went up in farm, and now he's down.
Oh, there's Ollie again. Mortar doesn't have ult, needs to watch out.
No ult for the Ornn, no Bellows Breath to stop the CC. Gets taken down. Strong side, top side, 5-2 and 1 Hecarim, 2-1 and 2 Renekton. They're really gonna, which is smart because Azir and Senna, you know, into the late game. So those two other guys need to take the mid game into their own hands.
Well, KVM Mechelen creating a slight goal lead, of course. Everything can still happen. The play that Hennessy made earlier is still possible for them. They have the combo with Misfortune if there would be a team fight. For now, KVM Mechelen, as usual, picking up the first 2 Drakes. With the 3rd Drake, there is some contesting going on in most cases, but we'll see if they're gonna do it. It is, of course, an Ocean Soul, which is something you can't really give up, so I don't think that PXP will let the 3rd one slide so easily.
PXP actually doing a pretty good job keeping up with the guys with KVM here. Would have thought that they, you know, that KVM would have a little bit of an easier time with this PXP lineup. However, like we said before, Luke-alike doing really well here on the Silas, finding that triple kill earlier on, putting him quite far ahead of his lane opponent. Not only in farm, which is basically even, but he's 2,000 gold ahead of his lane right now. So that's a big, big difference.
I, by the way, love the mythic item that Luca went for, the Everfrost. You don't ever see it in games, but I totally love that item, giving you an extra hard CC on your team, which is so valuable. You can chain it in the chain that Luca has on Silas, which makes that lockdown so long, and for champions like the Azir, the Senna, the Seraphine, it's super deadly, and he might just use the Seraphine ult here against her.
Pantheon ult getting used to jump in. They should find 2 kills right here, as Senna ult is going to be used as well. They leave Pantheon basically alone because of the Renekton TP, and they find 2 kills in return for the 1. Now Hennessy might be in trouble as well with Azir poking him down. Mortar's going to dash over this one. The Popper's going to be used. Golden Meek just not enough. But that's where the Ornn might come in to peel for his carry. Hank still has his wall, pushes away the Ornn, and that's another kill for the Renekton, who's finished his Gore Drinker. He's 4-1 and 2, 35 farm ahead of his laner. He's really strong, and another perfect Onslaught of Shadows, devastating charge. Holy please, why don't they ban Hecarim?
He is definitely back in his element this game. 5-2 and 2, and the rest of the squad doing very well as well. Only Hank, he was a little bit behind, but with these plays he is getting there, he's farming up, will be able to be that late game threat as well, but they still need to respect this lineup for PXP. The game isn't over yet, even though the 5k gold is big. A lot will depend on this next Drake. Will KVM Mechelen be able to pick it up for free, or will PXP contest this already? It might be better for them to only contest it once it's the soul, because at this point I'm not really sure if PXP can win a full 5-on-5 team fight.
Feel like they probably won't be able to, as they find the pick onto Luca-like. He should be going down here with the devastating charge. Eventually he doesn't. He gets away because of the backup from his team. Teleport gonna come through. Onslaught of Shadows had been stolen, taken from the Hecarim, of course. Not gonna find the kill eventually, as Hecarim finds another one for himself. Devastating charge. Ha! He's waiting. He didn't have the vision onto Ornn, so he had to wait until he was in the bush, or Ornn was out of the bush, to push the Ornn back into his team, and they win the fight. Silas is going to run away, not scrap free at all. And that's Drake number 3 for KVM Esports Academy. And they're pretty far ahead now, taking this game, complete control over this game.
As we said, this Drake is very important. We weren't sure if PXP were going to contest this, as it was risky, as KVM had a big lead over them and the teamfight was likely to go in their favor. And that is what happened. KVM picking up the kills, picking up the Drake. They are on soul point now, so in a little bit over 4 minutes, they will be able to go for that Ocean Soul, which is so huge for their squad, especially if you see how many healing they already have with Seraphine and Senna there. Of course, Renekton being able to heal himself as well. And I am missing some grievous wounds on the team of PXP. You have the Bramble Vest on Ornn, but that's all she wrote, and that is not nearly enough for the threat that there already is, and the potential threat of an Ocean Soul that is on its way. So PXP, they really need to prepare, as KVM is starting off this Baron.
Ooh, another Baron flip potentially here. The jungler for PXP is there as well. Hits the spear, could possibly use the pounds to get over this as the Ornn gets used as well. Baron at 3k HP goes down slowly but surely. There's no vision in there for PXP at this point.
Still doing it.
Nidalee is still there, and KVM decide to back off. Don't want to flip this 50-50. And decide to stop the Baron. PXP was actually able to stop the Nashor here for KVM, as they are now looking for a possible engage here with Renekton. Needs to look for a stun. 3-man charm. Great Senna ult on top of that very thick layer of damage, as Uno Azir, he wins his ultimate. But look at this Renekton just jumping into the backline, finds a double kill. Hecarim does the same on the other side of the fight, and Mortar still wants more to... Wow, that's a very long...
That is really far.
Dash. Holy damn.
Oh my god.
With the burn from the Lyanna, it's gonna be... And this is what we said before. Renekton and Hecarim need to take the early game to mid game in their hands, and then after that, Azir and Senna will just take over. Of course, right now, Senna 6-0 and 5, really strong. But the Renekton and the Hecarim are just a huge nuisance for PXP.
You know, this was beautiful to see from this academy lineup for KVM Mechelen, how they are able to play this out as the last fight for the Nexus starts.
It's gonna break out here, the turrets are gonna go down, and now it's gonna be PXP, do or die. And KVM actually decide to back off, not go for the fight themselves. They don't have the Dominus, yet they don't have Seraphine ultimate. They wait for the onslaught of Shadows to come up as well. They are going to stay in the base. There's no real objectives for them to pick up, as the Seraphine ult had been stolen. They find the damage, they find the kill onto Seraphine, onto Senna, excuse me, which is going to be huge for them. A lot of damage gets taken away, but of course we still have the Renekton, we still have the Hecarim, a double kill for Silas right now. Can he find more? They pick up the shutdown for Shadows MF as well. They're gonna chase with...
That's an ace.
Yikes. KVM biting way more off than they can shoot.
And I feel like the idea for KVM Mechelen was good. They wanted to end this game early before, of course, this composition from PXP gets to its scaling point. They are more strong in the mid game, but they do have the ornaments later on the game. They didn't want to risk that. But they overstayed, their ultimates were off cooldown. A lot of them didn't have flash, and now they give up an ace and the Baron, which is of course a huge pickup by PXP. Is it enough for them to get back into the game? We'll have to see. We'll have to see what they are able to pick up here. If they do not throw it themselves at the Baron this time.
Ooh, they're not able to steal away the Baron, but it was really, really close as Mortar picks up the kill onto Pantheon. Silas gets away with the Baron buff, and now Silas and Nidalee both have Baron buff. It's a 4v2. My client is screwing with me. Stop it. It's a 4v2 for KVM Esports. Sorry, 5v2 for them, and this should be the end of the game. Yes, they don't have the Baron, which is going to make it a little bit more difficult, but there's an open Nexus. They can just 5-man hit the Nexus, and the game will basically be over. Flash from the Azir, pushing the Silas into his team. Spear comes down through the exhaust. Hennessy picks up another kill. It's not going to be enough, as now they find the almost ace. Only Pantheon still alive. KVM picking up their first and very important win in this group phase. As Ollie says, guys, I was AFK for one game. You can go Fountain Dive. I'm going to hit the Nexus and take this game home for us. First win for KVM. Played it really well. They had a game plan. They played according to the game plan as well. And it works out for them, picking up their first win in this group over PXP.
The end, it was a little bit wonky, of course. KVM throwing it a little bit in the base, overstaying there, giving them an ace and the Baron. But there is a hard situation, of course, for PXP to make a call, because they know, even though we have the ace, KVM is still super strong. We'll never have an opportunity to get close to this Baron when they are back up, so we need to go and rush it. But they take a little bit too long in killing this Baron, which gives KVM Mechelen the opportunity to clean up a few members of PXP. And of course, with an open Nexus, you can't defend 2 or 3v5. That is not possible, and KVM Mechelen are able to pick up the win with the lead that they had so far, putting them in a 1-2 spot in these groups. I'm not sure how the rest of the teams did it by now, but let's check. Trill is obviously at number spot 1 with
Number spot.
at the number 1 spot.
Thrill is the number 1 right now. They actually went 4-0, so they went for a clean sweep basically of the team. Dynasty second right now with 2-1. KVM Esports Academy 1-2, followed by Tribute 1-2 as well. So this next game between KVM Esports and Tribute is gonna decide, who goes 1-3 and who goes 2-2. And PXP is 0-3, and I'm not 100% sure who Dynasty needs to play right now. If my screen would want to work. Dynasty, I don't know who they have to play.
Why is the schedule so tiny? Dynasty will have to play Trill. I believe.
They already played Thrill, because Thrill has 4 games.
Then they need to play PXP now.
Okay. So Dynasty playing PXP means that if Dynasty wins, they go through. If Dynasty loses and KVM wins, I think it's a tiebreaker.
Yeah, so that is the scenario on which KVM Esports Academy needs to bank. We'll see what happens. So it's not all lost, but one thing is for sure, they need to win against Tribute. And Tribute, they played against them once, first Open Tour weekend, their first game, and they lost. So this is not only an important match for them, but also a rematch, revenge time for KVM Esports Academy. And we'll see how that goes in 5 to 10 minutes.
It's going to be interesting to see what they're going to be able to do against Tribute. Of course, a lot depends on PXP as well. So we're going to have to see if that works out for them. We'll be back in, I think, 10 minutes for the 4th and final game, most likely, of today. Get a drink. Stay tuned. Peace.